Wow.
Wow, this is some really deep stuff.
I don't know what just happened, but something happened inside of me. Something snapped, something sick.
I wasn't expecting that either.
Sorry.
It's okay. It's all right. It's beautiful.
Monster is like really small, but it had to become that to stop me.
And then the hurt child became present when you mentioned it.
And I didn't realize this until now.
There were things that I didn't remember until now.
Funny, I haven't seen that before.
It feels like I'm the monster. I'm kind of seeing images of things, of a world where they can exist. This clarity brings all kinds of answers.
It's clear. She hugged me and then went back to her place, I guess, in my heart. Oh, it wants to come out. It wants to bippity boppity boop Cinderella me. She's melted into my chest. It's ooey gooey.
All week been finishing things, cleaning up more, started eating vegetables again last week. And it kind of just started happening. It's almost like I just finished going through a meditation session.
I feel light. When you hit that first joint, in the morning, and
I actually feel a lot more awake.
Hello. Hey, welcome back.
Yes.
How you doing?
Not so great, but
Okay.
I'm okay in my not so greatness.
All right. Well, maybe something we can explore today.
Perhaps.
Okay. So there's a couple ways to start. One is if you already know of a part you'd like to work with or get to know better, we can do that. The other is by starting with what's called a trailhead, which basically just means anything that's up, anything you'd like to talk about.
I guess the part of me that's terrified.
Okay. Okay. Does it feel like it's present to some degree now?
Yes.
Okay. And how do you notice it? How does it show up in your body?
Chest twitching, a lot of pressure, muscle tenseness, and stiffness.
Okay. Okay. And as you're noticing it, how do you feel towards it?
I feel like I'm still in it.
Okay, yeah. That's all right. So you could maybe just let it know that. Let it know that you're feeling that you're kind of in it.
Okay.
You could try asking it for a little bit of space. Just just try asking it to give you some space so that you can get to know it even better.
Mm-hmm.
If it's right on top of you, it's kind of hard to see or communicate. Just see how it responds to that if you ask for it to just unblend a little bit.
Think we made it.
Yeah?
Yeah.
And so now how are you feeling towards it?
Calm.
Calm. Okay. You can thank it. Thank it for giving you the space. Are you feeling curious about getting to know it?
I feel like I already know it.
Okay. Okay. Maybe you could check that out with it. Maybe you could check out with it if it feels like you really know it, or if there's more that it would like for you to know about it.
Okay. No, I think I got it.
Okay, I'm curious. It feels like that part is giving you its story, and you understand where it's coming from and what it might need.
Yes.
Okay. Is there more you'd like to get to know about this part?
I don't think so.
Okay. That's fine. So you can just, again, thank it. Thank it for giving you the space. Let it know that it's welcome in this space. It's welcome in this conversation. If it wants to come back up, we can attend to it.
Okay.
And maybe, I mean, we don't have to keep talking with it, but if I was going to ask it one more question, it would be, does it have any requests? Anything it wants from you going forward?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can just let it know to tell you what it wants and needs. It's not, you don't have to share it with me, and you don't have to make any promises to it, but just to hear its request.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Okay. Do you have any other parts that you'd like to get to know or change your relationship with?
I guess the part of me that feels like it needs a lot of information in order to interact with the world and to continuously do that.
Okay. So this part's always or regularly seeking more info, wants you to get more information.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And how do you notice that one when it comes up? Again, in your body, any sensations that come along with it?
I usually just feel bad.
And you know what that's about? Is that bad because you aren't able to get the info? Bad because you feel like it's taking up too much of your energy?
Oh, I mean, like, the thing that prompts it is a bad feeling.
Okay. So let me see if I understand. So there's a bad feeling that comes up, and then this part says we can handle that if we get more information.
Yes.
Okay. All right. And the part that needs to get more information, right now, as you're noticing that part, how do you feel towards it?
Calm.
Okay. Anything else? Are there any other parts that are not feeling so calm at it, or frustrated by it, judgmental of it?
Like, do they exist?
Are they up for you now? Are they
Okay.
kind of wanting to jump in and interfere with your getting to know this part?
No.
Great. Okay. You could try asking this part that wants to get more information. What is it that it wants you to know about it?
That it's scared and it wants to control, but it can't.
Yeah.
And yeah, pretty much that.
Okay. Does that make sense to you?
Yes.
Okay. Let it know that makes sense to you.
Okay.
And is it aware of you there? Does it feel like it's able to see you in the way that you're kind of seeing it? Does it feel reciprocal?
Yes.
Great. You mentioned being scared. What are its concerns if it didn't work so hard? What's it afraid would happen?
Overwhelm.
Overwhelm?
Mm-hmm.
4.
Okay. And you could maybe ask it just to show you more about that overwhelm, what it's like.
Can you repeat that?
So you could just maybe ask it to show you more about what that overwhelm is like, just to make sure that you have a good understanding of the thing that it's concerned about and wanting to protect you from.
Complete powerlessness.
Mm-hmm. And as it shows you that, and you kind of get a better picture of what that is like, again, how are you feeling towards this part that is working so hard to protect you from that?
I think there's another part.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What's this other part I want to tell you?
That the information seeking part takes it way too far and doesn't lead to action and usually results in like extreme self-neglect and takes me into my mind and out of my body.
Okay. Yeah. Sounds like a reasonable thing to be concerned about.
Yeah.
Okay. You can let that part know that that makes sense to you too.
Mm-hmm.
And that just by speaking with these parts, by you getting to know them, that you can help them. I mean, this part said, the seeking information part said it was scared. So it might feel the same way, like it's kind of having to work more than it wants to. You could check that out with it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. Okay. So the part that says it's taking it too far, you can just ask that part for space. Let it know that maybe there's agreement around that, but that you can get to the bottom of that with this part if it gives you space.
Okay.
So this part that's seeking information sounds like it's working really hard and that it has a fear of overwhelm, of a feeling of complete powerlessness.
Sorry, can you repeat that?
The part that is seeking information sounds like it has worked very hard and that it has a fear of you being overwhelmed and powerless. Just want to make sure I have all that right.
Yep, that's correct.
Okay. Can you show it any appreciation for working so hard, for its intention to preventing that?
Yes. Although I don't think it prevents it. I just think it doesn't work.
Right. Which could be the case. And I bet you could ask this part, if it agrees with you that the way it does its job doesn't always work. And if it's open to just continuing to talk with you about how you might be able to help it out. But the appreciation is really just for its intention. That overwhelm, that feeling of powerlessness, those are real feelings in you. Those are real feelings I'm assuming other parts are carrying. And this get more information part has served an important role.
Yes.
Even if sometimes the impact of that is not ideal.
Yeah. It's more like the information was useful and great that I learned the things that I learned, but I just didn't apply them. So it's not that it completely doesn't work. It's just like there is no follow through.
Right. And I think you also mentioned that sometimes you mentioned kind of going too much into your mind and I don't know, maybe I'm just thinking about my own information gathering part.
I think that's
kind of.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
I think that it's a direct result of the self-neglect is the reason, or the main reason, that I'm often there.
Okay. So it sounds like maybe a bit of a vicious cycle here, because there was a part saying that the information part takes it too far, and that puts you in a state of non-action and causes self-neglect. And now I'm also hearing that self-neglect might kind of give rise to the we need to seek even more information part.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, which makes sense to me.
The information seeking is also sort of a cover up for my not knowing, or like, I guess it's sort of like, if I wanted help with my problems, I wouldn't know. I don't know how to communicate that to people in a way that would work or that makes sense. And where my parts feel safe, I guess.
Yeah. Sounds like.
So I feel trapped and powerless by that. And then it loops back to information seeking and this idea. Eventually, I'll find the elusive golden nugget.
Yeah, I was just going to say that sounds a lot like it sounds like it would overlap with that feeling of powerlessness that it wants to prevent.
Yep.
You know? Okay. So you just let it know you see all that.
Okay.
That makes sense to you. And did that part receive that appreciation that you were showing it?
Yes.
Okay. You could ask it what it would rather be doing if it didn't have to work so hard. If you could go to the parts that feel powerless and help them out, what would this... Okay, I'll slow down.
What part are you talking about?
All right. So the information seeking part, it's worked hard. We're acknowledging that sometimes that work is maybe too hard or doesn't have the effect you're after.
Right.
My question is, what would it rather be doing if it didn't have to work so hard?
Okay. It likes its job. It just doesn't like doing it for like the purpose of survival.
Yeah. Doesn't like feeling compelled to do it. And for such high stakes. Yeah. Okay. So maybe in a perfect world, in its ideal world, it would still get to seek information. It just wouldn't feel so high stakes. Wouldn't be about survival.
Yeah. It would be about lovable learning.
Yeah. Yeah. And how old does this part think that you are?
12.
Okay.
I don't know if I'm completely, I don't know if that's quote unquote right answer, but
yeah, you can check it out with the part, see if you heard that right. You might also see if it has to show you anything around, when you were 12, here's when this feeling of powerlessness was really coming up in a strong way. Here's when this feeling of not being able to ask for help was really strong, and this part had to get activated. So that could be another way to kind of check out that number.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So you can just update it with your real age.
Mm-hmm.
And you could ask it what it needs from you going forward. How can you help it out?
By getting on top of the self-neglect.
Okay.
And doing a lot of things and experiencing a lot of experiences so that I can discern what makes me feel good and what makes me feel bad, what gives me energy, what takes away energy. And from there, just trying to conform my life in a way where I don't have to operate in survival.
Okay. So once you do some experimenting, have some experiences, kind of learn what works for you, and it also wants you to get on top of the self-neglect.
Mm-hmm. And a part, I don't know if the same part, but a part is really, 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 really scared about doing that.
Okay. That was going to be my next question.
Read your mind.
Yeah. So can you identify the part that's scared about that? Is that the 12-year-old? Is that a part that feels powerless? Or is there some other part that has concerns about that?
I think it's a part that feels shame.
Okay.
Shame for like having not done certain things that the average human would find intuitive or like simple or obvious or common sense. And then having other people like see what level that I'm at. would be very overwhelming.
Yeah. So there's that judgment that might come from other people, or that perceived judgment. And then that just the comparing to seeing how other people might make it look easy, have an intuitive way. And this part has shame around that.
Yeah, I guess it's judgment, but also like a fear of being saved.
Fear of being saved.
Yeah.
Does it make sense to you?
It does, but it doesn't, because obviously I'd love to be saved, but I just don't have the capacity to understand the like the level of unknown that would bring.
Yeah. Okay, so this part's sharing all these emotions and the shame. How do you feel towards that part as you notice it and as it shares that with you?
Calm.
Did you say calm?
Yes.
Okay. I'm wondering if it's okay, I just want to think out loud for a moment.
Okay.
I'm wondering if that part is what we would call an exile, if it oftentimes a part carrying shame is often a part that we would exile, that parts of us would exile. So we don't want to feel that, right? So it's possible that this is an exile, which is fine.
Would it be normal for that ease of access to like an exile?
Yes.
Yeah, I feel like I know what this exile is. I think it's like, yeah, I guess you could call it like learning trauma or whatever, but like kind of like when like you don't know something and like you like other people kind of give you like that look, or they'll say like, oh, like that's common sense, or like, how did you not know that? Or like, you know, I knew that when I was 5, or like other stuff like that.
Right.
Or like,
and this part sees that as a reflection of itself, as its worth, or as its ability to have the right intuition.
It's like yeah,
kind of takes on that belief.
Yeah. Like, whereas like now I kind of know like it's okay to like not know things. But for the longest time, I didn't think that was okay.
Yeah.
And so I would kind of hide and avoid.
And parts would seek information also, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Very, very like privately and like, oh, like in the sense of like, oh, what are you doing? Nothing.
Right. This part was dealing with the shame around all of that. Yeah.
Yeah. And so like the thought of placing myself in that vulnerable a position of like admitting, I guess, the truth in a sense is just a very painful idea.
Yeah, sounds like it. So this part shared a lot with you. Just let it know that you see that. That you see that pain.
Yes.
Yes. And I'm going to suggest that we kind of step back from this part a little bit, if that feels okay with you.
Sure.
Let it know that it's not because we don't want to get to know it, but
Okay.
there's some other reasons, and I can kind of talk about that and just talk about my feelings and thoughts about that and why I'm suggesting that.
Okay.
Okay. But yeah, just let that part know that you appreciate what it did show you. You see that it's kind of an intense and heavy, and having that shame, and that we're not going to forget about it.
Okay.
So feel all right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Would you like to check in with any of these other protective parts, or would you like to kind of hear me talk about just where I am and where I'm thinking about where we are in this process?
You can share.
Okay. So yeah, that sounds like an exile to me. And that work is, as you might have already just experienced, it's more vulnerable. It's difficult. And those conversations are often longer. So a lot of times it's just a decision around the amount of time left. And I'm not real strict about we have to end at 55 minutes or anything.
Yeah.
But a lot of times when we get to these parts and we're 40 minutes in,
Mm-hmm.
I'm usually want to play it safe and a better safe than sorry of saying like, I know if we get much further with this part, it just deserves a longer conversation. So, and especially the way that, it seemed like you were kind of surprised. You were like, well, should I be able to access an exile this quickly? All right. So, in the future, that might be it will be less of a surprise. You can put this exile on your map, on your calendar of important parts to get back to.
Mm-hmm.
It can come sooner in the conversation to have more time to work with it. And it won't have that same degree of, whoa, just can be a little more intentional in how we approach it. And does that all make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. And my other thinking about it is, just when we started the conversation, you say you're not feeling great. And again, because that work is so delicate, it's really, I'm kind of looking out for the mood, for the temperature in the room, and hoping that, trying to detect that you and I combined have that self energy needed for that work. So, sometimes I show up, I'm having a bad day, I got a headache, and it's like, oh, I hope we don't go to that place, and so I'm always just kind of looking out for that. I'm not saying that now, I'm just saying that's something I'm looking out for, is like, where are we today?
Yep.
Yeah. But I'd love to do it. I think it's crucial. It's a crucial part of IFS. And often there are, 5 protectors around this part. So it might be that maybe next time you're saying, okay, let's go straight to this exile, and suddenly 3 other protectors show up and say, well, here's why we don't want you to go there, or we want you to check in with us first. So That's another kind of checkpoint, something else I'm looking for. Anyway, I know I'm talking a lot.
You're all right.
How are you feeling?
I feel good.
Okay. That part that was seeking more information, it mentioned getting on top of the self-neglect and having more experiences. Oh, I wanted to just suggest one other thing. And this could be something that you check out with it, with this part that seeks information.
Mm-hmm.
You could ask it if going to that exile, if you were to go to that exile and unburden it, so it didn't have that shame, would this information seeking part be all right with that? Would that be valuable for it in relaxing? You could just ask it what it thinks about that.
Okay. It thinks that if the shame part was unburdened, then you would want to change roles to seeking information for fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that would help it if the shame part was unburdened.
Yes.
Help it to have its dream job. Yeah. Yeah, I think so. That's the theory of IFS. So you can work with that protector with those, the requests it made about having more experiences, right? That's kind of something that you would brainstorm and maybe try to put on your calendar, do out in the world kind of stuff. And then you also have this avenue of inner work, of deeper inner work, of working with exiles, where you can help it out with that shame, and this protector can be freed up in that way too. Okay. Any other parts have any questions, concerns, feedback for me? Questions about the process?
So going back to the exile in your philosophy around it or whatever, like what is like the process of unburdening an exile?
Great question.
Like what does that realistically look like?
Okay, well, there are tons of examples on calls that I've done. So in a lot of ways it's a lot like working with protectors, in that we're getting to know them. They have feelings, they have beliefs, they have reasons for feeling the way they do. And so we spend some time just witnessing that, understanding them, and really trying to earn their trust, because they've been pushed down for a long time. Usually they've been pushed around by protectors. They've maybe been kind of ignored by self. They don't feel like they can get your attention. That's often how exiles feel. And so there's a process of just kind of witnessing until they feel like you get it. And then there's some steps. One could be called like redoing. So you can go back into the time that exile maybe experienced some of those things, and you can kind of redo some of those memories and be with it and be for it be there for it in the way that it needed someone. You can kind of invite it to come join you. And there's also kind of a shamanic practice in which, kind of like I started with you and I said, where do you feel parts in your body? You can ask the exile where it feels shame in its body, and you can help it release that. I know it sounds like crazy magic. It is. I mean, it's wild and it works.
My information seeking part has one more thing to add.
Please.
It would also, on top of seeking information for fun, it would also seek to just self-discover without shame.
Yes.
And this drive to conceal everything, and
right. Yeah, that's exactly what we'd be targeting.
Pretend I know who I am, because not knowing would trigger the exile.
Right. That's exactly what we'd be looking to unburden. That exile has those feelings of it's not right. It's not okay for it to feel that way, or to it doesn't trust how other people might perceive it. And those are the things that we would aim to unburden in that exile. And I don't want to make promises. Oh, then you're all done and it's never going to happen again. But by doing it once and establishing that possibility, and just having the exile have someone who it can go to, who doesn't judge it, which is the self, then the exile itself, because it's probably a curious, passionate young part, even it can suddenly start helping in that creative way.
Right.
It gets kind of unlocked, and you can, I hate to use the word take advantage of it, but you can you can work with it.
Yeah. I also think that the exile is sort of tied to this idea of like, I'm going to be the only person that does life completely wrong.
Yeah. That's one of the beliefs that it has, that it's all alone in that feeling.
Yeah.
And I'm taking notes about these things that we heard from it.
Okay.
So that when we do revisit it, we'll be able to kind of
reference,
make sure that we're being thorough and that we're really addressing and witnessing everything that it believes, and just all those difficult memories and burdens that it's carrying.
Right.
Any other questions?
I think that's it.
Okay. Thanks to all your parts. Thanks to that terrified one that gave you space. This information seeking one for letting us get to know it, for letting us explore options, for giving you some direction around what it needs, and to that exile for being who it is, and its willingness to wait.
Yeah.
And now this information seeking part can see that you can go to that exile without being overwhelmed.
Would it be uncommon for me to have kind of already been aware of this exile like for the longest time?
No, and I would say it would probably be more uncommon for you to not have some awareness of it.
Is it because of the particular exile, or is it something else?
I don't know if it's because of the particular exile. I just think that if you've done any introspection, it's not like those feelings are completely out of the blue for you, right? Like you've experienced them, and you've experienced the backlash and the other protectors scurrying around. So
yeah.
So it's it's not unheard of, but it's more uncommon for parts to be completely, who is this person? Like, yeah, no, we've met before. We've occupied the same house for a while, even if we haven't communicated directly or in this way. So yeah, most of the time there's familiar feelings.
Yeah, I also figure that kind of exile would probably get triggered pretty often in life.
Yeah, it might.
Because a lot of learning experiences for sure.
Right. I
also feel like this part really affects like work. Yeah. Especially if it's like a new job with like a lot of stuff. And then like I think that I should know things that I shouldn't know, and I don't know where the line is between expectations and knowledge, and how fast and how many questions can I ask before I get fired and all that stuff.
Yep. They tell you, hey, there's no stupid questions. It's like, yes, there is. You're lying. Yeah. Yep. Makes sense to me.
Cool.
Okay. Well, unless you have any other questions, like I said, I'd love to keep working with you and get you on that calendar again.
All right. Yeah. Awesome. Sounds great.
Okay. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Okay. Have a good night.
All right. You too.
Okay. Bye.
Do you want to help bring more self-energy to the world? If you'd like to participate in calls or help out with this project in any way, I'd love to hear your ideas. Join the Discord server or contact me at james@liveifs.com. A huge thanks to our audio engineer, Jovan, for your care and diligence in editing the calls. To every caller for your courage in sharing some of your parts. And to anyone out there getting to know their internal system, keep going. Who knows? That might be the most selfless, helpful thing you can do for others, and you're the only one who can do it. If you'd like to see us reach the largest audience, we must please the almighty suggestion algorithms at iTunes and YouTube, and they don't care about the power of IFS. They're looking for likes and shares and comments, and the sooner the better. Follow the links in the show notes right here in your podcast player to make your wishes known. And now, a minute of meditation. Or if you prefer, pull over. You can do it in 60 seconds. Just click one of those links. They're right there, and give us a like or a 5-star rating. It would really help. If you think this project is helping people, you're helping people by sharing it. Thank you.